Happy Halloween. It's been a while since I made a top, or it feels like it's been a while since I made a top 7 video. So, since it is Halloween, the season of the spooks and the scares, I was like, man, I should make another top. My first top was last year's Halloween, so I should make another one for this year's Halloween. And I was thinking, man, what should I do for Halloween? What is scary? And I was like, the unknown. The mysteries of the unknown, to some are frightening, and to others, exciting. Currently, mankind has explored most of its surroundings, and with that, they looked up to the stars and sent a man to the moon, a robot to Mars, and currently, we have some people chilling out in the International Space Station. But, I feel like we left something unchecked, unexplored. Oh yeah. How about the 80% of the unmapped ocean we got? I mean, sure, 20% is probably comprised of the surface of the ocean and a bit of what's under it, but we have no idea what's beyond that 20%, and that's honestly terrifying and exciting at the same time. Like, who knows what we can find down there? So, welcome to my top 7 monsters of the deep. The rules are a bit different from last time, since some of these don't have games, so instead of making a top 7 sea monsters in video games, it's gonna be top 7 monsters in pop culture. So, like I said, we're throwing out the rules from last Halloween, and we're just doing this cause fuck it, it's my list. Let us go on to honorable mention, cause I do believe this should have been on the list, but some monsters just took him over. Anyway, starting off with honorable mention, Lago. Now, I've only played Monster Hunter World, but when I got into it and found out that monsters were added from other games, I was like, whoa, I want to check out what other monsters were in this series to see what I want added into the game. And well, I haven't shut up about Laggy since the World came, since I started playing World. I mean, just go ahead and tweet at Eru. Actually, just tweet about him. Bother him. It's not like he watches this anyway, so just everyone watching this, go, here's his Twitter handle, everyone spam him with mentions about like gear quiz, send him pictures of him, send him videos. If anyone has the video for the beta of Monster Hunter World where like gear quiz was in it, everyone, just add him. Everyone, bother the shit out of him. Get him to block you. And, well, moving right along from the honorable mention, we move on to number 7. And for number 7, I was like, I want Godzilla on this list. He's honestly a pretty spooky guy. But then I was like, Godzilla isn't scary. Or at least I personally don't find him scary. But it is a sea monster list, and he's a monster, and he comes from the sea. I really think it would be a sin not to put him on this list, one way or another. But he is a protector of Earth. He protects the humanity. He doesn't let other monsters kill us. Unless we're talking about, number 7, Shin Godzilla. Shin fucking Godzilla is horrifying. Like, just look at his design. Look at him. Look at his final form. He is the scariest Godzilla we have till date. Also, standing a humongous 118.5 meters. And honestly, sure, he started off pretty goofy with his first form, but his main power is accelerated evolution. What that means is that instead of taking millions of years to evolve into something that can survive in his environment, he does it in hours, going from a goofy, armless thing that's crawling along in order to destroy stuff to a gigantic and terrifying version of Godzilla. This horror baby came from the masterminds of Hideaki Anno and Shinji These motherfuckers. These are the guys that made the fucking Neo Genesis Evangelion. One of the peaks of anime. It's considered one of the best animes of all time. Not only that, look at his atomic breath. Not only does it come out from his mouth, it comes out from every dorsal fin on his back, and even from his tail. Luckily for us, well, Japan was able to find a way to stop him. Not to kill him, because he's pretty much unkillable, but they found a way to stop him by freezing his blood. Well, glad he was frozen when he was, because he was about to evolve into his next form, which would have most likely been the end of humanity. By the way, if you haven't, go check out my cover of Who Will Know from Shin Godzilla. I'm personally kind of proud of it. Well, I hope you all enjoy it. And I'm sure you all may be asking yourselves, what the hell? The king of all monsters on the number 7 spot in the sea monsters list? What is wrong with you? Well, I stated that one of the reasons that I didn't want to put Godzilla higher in the list was because most of his incarnations are the protector of Earth, the guardian of humanity. So I ended up putting him on the number 7. But going on to number 6 with Bruce from Jaws. Okay, Jaws is my all-time favorite movie. This doofy robo-shark was just meant to be on this list. Now, Bruce, yes, that is his name, look it up. Anyway, Bruce isn't really that different than your average shark. I mean, he's just a great white shark that has unnatural super strength and it's pretty big. I mean, it's a natural size for a great white shark. And yes, I say super strength, since none of the feats of Bruce does towards the end of the film are possible, I think. I hope, which, if I'm correct and none of that is possible, is honestly a huge relief since we're tad of info on me. I love sharks, and sort of hate the image that pop culture has on sharks, but at the same time, Jaws is my favorite all-time film, and it's kind of weird. Also, I have a sort of fear of sharks, even though I know they won't attack unless aggravated. I've also swam with sharks. Huh. If I could get a picture, I'll show it on screen. If not, well, oh well. But yeah, I love this goofy 25-foot, 3-ton man-hunting shark. And as a kid, it kept me out of pools, and even to this day and age, even though I know about real sharks, I always think this mofo will fucking eat me when I go to beaches. To stop me from jumping in the water, though. But hey, maybe the rest of the monsters on this list will stop me from jumping in the water. Number 5. Primal Kyogre. The creator of the ocean, Kyogre, is already a powerful being and sort of being the smallest on this list. He's a bit over 14 feet long, but he isn't that spooky. Now, throw the blue orb into the equation, and oh boy, we have the sequel to God's Great Flood. At a pretty huge 32-foot long, Primal Kyogre, as if he wasn't strong enough, he powers himself up with Primordial Sea, which causes heavy rain and powers up his water-type moves. Makes fire, well, immune to anything around him, I guess, and makes any other climate-changing abilities / moves to fail, unless they counter his. Now, what makes Primal Kyogre scarier than Bruce or the G-Man himself? Well, it's the fact that from the moment he awakens, he immediately starts to destroy the world by flooding it. If he felt like it, he could have just camped it out. He could have just stayed at the bottom of the sea floor, letting Primordial Sea do its thing. And in a couple days or weeks, humanity would be living out on the sea. I actually don't know how long it would take, since in the games, he was only in his primal form for a couple of hours max. But if this primal beast was left unchecked, well, who knows how long it would take for him to flood our world. Following the sequel of The Great Flood, we got Del Lago over here at number 4. Which also, can someone explain to me how, not why, but how the fuck is this thing so fucking big? It's not the biggest thing on the list, not by far, but this thing lives in a lake. Yes, I'm sort of cheating here by putting a monster from the lake instead of a monster from an ocean, but hear me out. This thing is around 40 feet longer than Bruce, meaning that he's around 30 feet longer than Primal Kyogre. Both are creatures of the ocean. They should be bigger than this thing. But nope, this thing is over 20 meters long. And I mean, holy shit, if the guys from Jaws thought they needed a bigger boat, imagine how Leon felt when he fought this in a fucking motor wooden raft, I guess. Compared to their boat, this is just a fucking raft. The Lago is one of the first bosses in Resident Evil 4, and this one locks you out of your inventory, for fuck's sakes. At least, instead of having guns or grenades, you have an infinite supplies of fucking harpoons. Just shitting me, right? And this thing is not only scary, but disgusting. I hate this thing so much. To think that a cute little salamander would have been experimented to the point that it would become this. Back on topic. Del Lago, well, likes his quick time events, and if you fail, if you fall off the small boat, you better get ready to mash, because this thing will chase you down and eat you in one gulp. And once you kill it, don't make the mistake that many have done before. Don't relax and get ready to mash, because this boss, once it dies, it'll drop to the bottom of the lake and, well, try to drag you down with you. So, if you fail the QT event, time to start the fight again. Great. Coming from the 4th spot, we move on to a 3rd with Reaper Leviathan from Subnautica. The Reaper Leviathan is very spoopy, and is one of the few experiences I've had with Subnautica. And honestly, I haven't really played Subnautica. I played it with Gachuga back when we were roommates when he first got the game, and is one of the only Leviathans I've seen. The other one was the Ghost Leviathan, but it was sort of more of a jump scare since we were in creative mode and we just swam to like the edge of the ocean, I guess, and we turned around and we just saw like 3 Ghost Leviathans on our asses. It was funny. Like I said, I haven't played much of Subnautica. One of the few times I played, well, this is the motherfucker that took my life. I'd like to point out that this thing is 55 meters long. This is pretty big, and it's tied for 3rd on this list. And, well, power scaling wise, it's probably one of the weaker ones on this list. Probably only beating Groudon and the Lago. And, well, this thing is scary. I mean, not much more that I can say. His design is scary, and his grab is scary as hell. Not only because it kills you, but because he like grabs you with his like front stabby thingies and stabs you, and I think he just takes a big bite out of you and, well, you die. Anyway, moving on. Number 2, MetalSeadramon. This is the biggest motherfucker on this list, and I had to do the math for this, so I hate myself, but shout out to the guy that sent me this image.
Hey, hello there, it's me, Noble Knight Surge in editing mode, and well, I just realized as I went to look for the image to put in the video, this one right here, the one that has the size of MetalSeadramon, that I used the wrong bridge to do the math for his size. You see, when I first saw this image, I thought it was the Golden Gate Bridge, when in reality, it's the Rainbow Bridge in Japan. So after going back and doing the math with the Rainbow Bridge instead of the Golden Gate Bridge, MetalSeadramon's size is roughly, and by roughly I mean it's around 130 meters. So yeah, just letting you know, don't get too excited with the size I'm about to say, cause he's still really big, but he's not as big as I hyped him up to be. So I think he's still the biggest one on this list, so that stands true, I think. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. Bye, I'm out.
Because before, I had to download 2 3D models from the Digimon Adventure PSP game MetalSeadramon and Taichi. Good sir, you saved me so much time. Anyway, using this image, I was able to calculate that this guy is somewhere around 567 to 726 meters long. Nothing else on this list even comes close to this size. If you were in a submarine in the deep sea and this guy came and swallowed you, you wouldn't even notice it. The size is insane, and if you watch this show, it honestly doesn't make sense. But whatever, Digimon sizes don't really have actual sizes and scales, and you could argue that depending on how much data they had, they would be bigger. But anyway, this probably destroys everything on this list. It probably only struggled against the number 1 spot and against Shin Godzilla, but this thing is being hella scary. One of the final enemies of the original show, and my god, this thing is strong. His body is made out of Crumb Digisoid, which, well, nothing we have in our world can even scratch that sort of metal, and even Digimon on his level have a hard time with it, or not even being able to touch it. He can attack you by wrapping himself around you and squeezing you, sort of like a snake. He can shoot a direct power shot out of his front nose, and he can create a, tsunami that he can direct at you. It's like, come on, the only reason he was defeated in the show was because my boy, shout out to War Greymon, went inside him and just Draymon slayered him from the inside. Which, by the way, MetalSeadramon Slayer, he was made to kill things like that. So any of the other Digidestins in the show technically wouldn't have been able to kill him even if they went inside the damn thing. So, yeah, holy shit. And finally, we move on to the biggest, the baddest, well, I crossed biggest, to the baddest sea monster in pop culture. Laying dormant somewhere around the South Pacific in his sunken city of Rayala. Relia? If this creature were ever to awaken, it would lead humanity into madness. Standing somewhere around 30 to 100 meters tall, Cthulhu is a Lovecraftian creature called one of the Great Old Ones. And with all his abilities, it's nearly omnipotent. Super strength, flight, invulnerability, immortality, telepathy, reality manipulation, and madness manipulation. Just by looking at this creature, you'll go insane. Honestly, Cthulhu bodies almost everyone on this list. The only one on this list that actually stands a chance is the digital life form, MetalSeadramon, since pretty much has resistance to everything that Cthulhu would throw at him. But Cthulhu would win since he also resists everything that MetalSeadramon would throw at him. And his near omnipotent status makes him the scariest sea monster ever. That's all I gotta say. If you enjoyed the list, well, I had a ton of fun working on this list. I love to jump into the water and have a blast in it, but you never know if you'll ever get dragged down under. The ocean is dangerous and an unknown place. Go ahead and let me know what you think of this list and what monsters you think should be in it down in the comment sections. Go ahead and subscribe and leave a like. I'll see you guys next time, and have a happy Halloween. Goodbye.